Fishing has played an important part in humans' lives for many centuries, but fish is not an infinite resource. As human populations and demand for fish increased over the last century, fish stocks couldn't keep up with what we took out of the seas. Without a solution, we were facing an epic loss of fish and the possible destruction of most fish species. In 2002, the EU accepted the Reaching MSY approach to solve this problem. To understand this approach, we must know it's made up of three concepts: MSY, BMSY, and FMSY. MSY. Every fish population has an equilibrium state with the fishing fleets that exploit it. The maximum amount of fish that can be removed from the fish population while allowing it to keep its size stable over time is called the MSY, maximum sustainable yield. BMSY. But before we can remove that amount of fish, the fish population must first reach a scientifically determined overall size. We call that the biomass MSY, or BMSY. Actually, scientists advise to keep the fish population even a little bit higher than BMSY for precaution. FMSY represents the fishing mortality, or intensity of fishing that can occur once BMSY and MSY have been reached. So, put it all together. First, the fish population is allowed to reach its optimal size, that is, BMSY. Only then can we remove the optimal catch, and only then will the stock keep its size constant at BMSY indefinitely over time. A recent study from the New Economics Foundation found that if we rebuild only 30% of Europe's fish stocks to their BMSY level, we would gain 3.53 million extra tons of landings, enough for 160 million EU citizens every year. A potential profit of 3.2 billion euros per year, and more than 100,000 new industry jobs. So, what's the problem? It sounds great. Unfortunately, the real possibility of sustainable fisheries in Europe is at risk. With almost 75% of all European fish stocks currently overfished, we must act now. The new CFP must be explicit in setting the target of BMSY. Setting the target at MSY or even FMSY will not necessarily deliver healthy fish stocks in the short term. So, Article 2 of the new CFP must read as follows. The Common Fisheries Policy shall apply the precautionary approach to fisheries management and shall aim to ensure that populations of harvested species are above biomass levels, which can produce the maximum sustainable yield by 2015. If we get this right, we get sustainable fisheries in Europe, and fish populations will continue to improve.